Hi, everybody, and welcome to this month's live training. And oh, wow, what an afternoon! When it comes to technical things, if something will go wrong, it'll go wrong at some point. One second, I just want to check to see you're hearing my voice because I don't trust anything today. Yeah, my laptop has my voice coming through there. Oh, wow, what a day. I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours ago, I decided to reboot my PC. And I did, and it wouldn't boot. And I went through all sorts of diagnostics and it said hard drive failure. Oh no, that's the worst thing you could possibly, worst warning you could ever see in a computer. I got it going again. Hopefully this broadcast won't break down, but I'm on the point of buying myself a new computer because I'm so reliant on computers, so reliant on this computer, and it's about 5 or 6 years old, really high spec, really high specification. But yeah, time for a new computer. So, and then just a moment ago, just getting ready for this, literally 3 minutes to five, 5 or 6 minutes ago, my camera wasn't working. Oh gosh. Anyway, everything's all right now as far as I know. I keep an eagle eye on my laptop here just to make sure it's still coming through. Anyway, it seems to be. It seems to be. So, a very good day to you wherever you are, and hope you're keeping really well. Here in Ireland, things are crazy. The COVID-19 rate is just going through the roof, and has been the last couple of weeks. Very scary, but it's it's the same everywhere. Very, very scary. I've staff in India, staff in the Philippines, I've staff all over the world, and it's scary. India and Philippines are really, really bad. Anyway, I think humanity as a species manages to be very resilient. I know we'll get through this. And but it's scary times. So I hope you're keeping yourself really strong, because it really comes down to how you master your own mind. It affects everything. It affects everything. And today's topic, of course, it's all about the mind and how to use our mind in a certain way to achieve the better things in life. And today, the topic, as I'm sure you know already, is Persuasion Mastery, Advanced Secrets of Influence. Persuasion Mastery, Advanced Secrets of Influence. That sounds, take control over people. No, 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 not at all, not at all. In fact, we covered this subject from a different perspective a few months back. The topic was influence, but this one is Persuasion Mastery. We're going deeper, Advanced Secrets of Influence. I'm going to be sharing with you later on a very, very simple, effective way to plan for any situation where you need to be highly influential. And you know what? If we're not very influential, it's very hard to achieve our dreams. It's very hard to convince other people to help us achieve our dreams. We cannot get through life without being influential on some level. And if we look at the world's most successful people who live wonderfully fulfilled lives, you find that they're very influential in the vast majority of cases. So what specifically are we going to cover today? Well, what you're going to learn, firstly, how to become a better communicator. This is all about communication. How to get people to understand your point of view. How to gain more respect from others. How to be more persuasive in every interaction. How to use persuasion to get ahead faster. And how to persuade people to do what you want. That sounds very, but you'll find that it is all about win-win. If you can convey what you need to convey in a way where the other person benefits as much as you, then you're much more persuasive. People will want to help you when it's a win-win situation. So it's really about becoming, what would you say, as sincere as you possibly can be. Even if you're not that already, it's all about sincerity, as we will discover. So before we get started in a moment, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to get in front of my main video camera, main microphone in front of my big screen with my clicker, and I'll do that main part of the presentation from over there. Then I'll come back here and answer questions and answers. But before we get started, I just want to gauge where everyone is at, that's joining us today. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you can put your answer in the chat box, because there is a chat box, whether you're on YouTube or wherever you are, Facebook, Twitter, there is a chat box, and you just put in your number there. So I just want to gauge where everyone is at. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how persuasive do you feel you are most of the time? If you don't feel you're very persuasive, give yourself a low rating, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you feel you're pretty persuasive, 5, 6, 7. If you feel you're really persuasive, 8, 9, 10. So how persuasive do you feel you are most of the time? I'm going to look at the chat box here. And I'm here, let's see, 5, 7, 5, 3, okay, 9, 4, 7. Okay, quite a few numbers there. Quite a few numbers there. So, however you ranked yourself, I'm seeing more numbers coming in, and they're all fairly similar. Good range of numbers. No matter how influential you feel you are currently, I'm going to show you very simple, really effective ways where you can be far more influential. As I say, it's almost like paint by numbers. I'm going to share with you a formula where you can just literally, it's a way of preparing in advance before you go into a situation where you need to be really influential. Because, generally speaking, I think we go into situations or meetings and, we hope for the best. But if you plan it all in advance before you go in, you are working on your, what would you say? There's the term, failing to plan is planning to fail. That is absolutely true. And when it comes to situations where you need to be really persuasive, where, how persuasive you are directly affects what's going to happen for you and the other person. No, it makes sense to plan. So I'm going to give you a really, really simple and really effective way to plan for persuasive situations. And the second question, so if you could be twice as persuasive as you had been up until this point, what would you want to achieve that you haven't already achieved? So if you could become much more persuasive, what would you like to achieve that you haven't already achieved? Because when you're more persuasive, you can achieve more. So I'm just seeing, just put it into the chat box. It's not a number this time, Okay, comments are coming in here already. Start my own business, great, wonderful. Ask for a pay rise, yeah. Convince my family I need a vacation. Good one. I think we could all do with a vacation or a holiday these days. Locked down for a year and a half. Oh. Increase my monthly sales figure. Ask my boss for a promotion. Become self-employed. Great. Okay, well, I think you'll find that this is going to help you a lot. I'm going to share with you, as I say, a very simple yet powerful formula for being a lot more persuasive. A way of preparing in advance for any situation where you need to be really at your best, where you need to use psychological triggers that all human beings possess. When you know what those psychological triggers are and you use them and plan it through in advance, very powerful, very, very, very powerful. So I'm going to go over to the other video camera now in a second, just for people who are joining us for the first time. You might think, what's this all about? Well, every month I go live like this for the Secrets of Success mentoring program. It's a monthly program. There should be a link there. Is there a link? Yes, there is, on the right-hand side of the page in YouTube, anyway, if you want to find out more. And there's a membership, and you get all my courses and all sorts of goodies. So if you want to find out more, just click the link there. So I think that's it. I am going to blank out this screen. I'm going to blank out this screen, and I am going to move to a different camera. So I'm just 1 second. Don't go away. It'll just go blank for a moment. Do not go away. 1 second. Hi everybody, and welcome to this month's live training.
A very special topic for you today. It's Persuasion Mastery. Persuasion Mastery, Advanced Secrets of Influence. And it's fact that if you're not very influential, it's very hard to achieve your goals. It's very hard to get ahead in life. If you look out into society and you take the time to study the world's most successful people, you find they're very influential people. Very influential people. So knowing the art of persuasion is really important. And we looked at this a few months ago when we looked at influence. Now we're taking it to an even deeper level. So that's why this session is called Persuasion Mastery. Persuasion Mastery, Advanced Secrets of Influence. So before we get started, just take a quick look at what we covered last month, because people are joining us every month and they're wondering, what's it all about? What do you cover? Well, what we covered last month, 5 powerful high-performance tools to boost productivity. So it was all about minimum effort, maximum result, all about productivity, and how to eliminate distractions and improve your focus, how to increase your energy and brain power in just 3 minutes. Sounds amazing, but this is something you can do. If you have more energy, if you can replenish your energy as you go through the day, instead of being burnt out at the end of the day, and instead of, getting all foggy brained as you move through the day, if you replenish it every 60 to 90 minutes, as you lose energy, you gain it again. Massive effect in what you can get done in a single day. Massive effect in how mentally agile you are. Things that were before difficult suddenly become a lot easier. And also, I showed you how to get more done while reducing stress. Really important. And also, I shared with you a simple way to plan each day that really can change your life. Very simple, excuse me, a very simple day planner, or rather, a very simple success or goal achievement planner. And also showed you how to finally win back time, because we only get 24 hours in a day. We can never magically create more, but we can look at our day and find out the parts of our day, or what we do, but just by analysing a single day, we can start to see very clearly how we all, what would you say, waste a certain amount of time and energy on things that aren't that important, that don't give us the great fulfillment that we could have. Wonderful, very simple way to literally win back time. And I also shared with you 10 indicators to discover how productive you will be when setting any goal. Know in advance whether to proceed or not. This can save you years of blood, sweat and tears chasing goals that may end up being unfulfilling. Know in advance if they're going to be unfulfilling. That's a gift. That's a gift. Huge amount of time and energy. I've seen so many people putting their whole life into achieving certain things, only to arrive, achieve it, and realize, it's not what I expected it was going to be. Avoid save yourself time and energy and heartache by knowing in advance whether each one of your goals is really worth pursuing or not. That's invaluable. So that was last month. Excuse me. Coughing and spluttering. Today a lot. Excuse me. So what will you learn today? Well, first of all, you learn how to become a better communicator, how to get people to understand your point of view, and also how to gain more respect from others, how to be more persuasive in every interaction, and also how to use persuasion to get ahead faster. Because when you're more persuasive, as I said a few minutes ago, you can get ahead much more quickly. That's one of the, that's one of the secrets of accelerated goal achievement, being more persuasive, and how to persuade others to do what you want. This sounds like manipulation, it's not. When you communicate more in a win-win type of way, when you put your feet into the other person's shoes, and whatever you're trying to persuade them to do to help you, if you can see it from their perspective, you're so much more persuasive. People will want to help you if it helps them also. So why are these things even important? First of all, you'll be able to achieve all your goals more easily. You'll be able to have a greater ability to communicate your ideas more effectively and simply, and other people will buy into your vision more easily. You can do things the hard way. Trial and error. I did that for years. I certainly wasn't very persuasive in my early years, early 20s. Oh my goodness, no. But when you know what it takes to be more persuasive, and you start making just little adjustments, little, small baby step adjustments to how you do things, the effect can be enormous. I'm a huge believer of minimum effort, maximum result. What are the things, the common factors that enable you to leap ahead more quickly? The common denominators that the world's most influential, most successful, the highest performers use. And there are certain things that they all use in common. So it doesn't make sense to learn what they are. You're going to learn in this session and every session every month. So what is persuasion? And what can it do? What can persuasion do? Well, according to Wikipedia, persuasion can attempt to influence a person's beliefs, attitudes, intentions, motivations, or behaviors. It is an often used tool in the pursuit of personal gain. Persuasion can also be interpreted as using one's personal or positional resources to change people's behaviors or attitudes. That's according to Wikipedia. And then there's a couple of types of persuasion. Systematic persuasion is the process through which attitudes or beliefs are leveraged by appeals to logic and reason. And there's also heuristic persuasion, which is the process through which attitudes or beliefs are leveraged by appeals to habit or emotion. So if you want to be really persuasive, you need to learn how to use both types of persuasion, and it's very, very simple. So be more persuasive and get what you want more easily. That's what can happen. This guy here is Napoleon Hill. You've probably seen me show his face many, many, many times. He's one of my heroes, one of my great mentors. And he was the author of Think and Grow Rich, almost 100 years ago. One of the greatest bestsellers of all time. It's still a bestseller today, almost 100 years later. And he said, Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, said, think twice before you speak. Because your words and influence will plant the seed of either success or failure in the mind of another. So think twice before you speak. It's so easy to respond emotionally without really thinking things through. But I'm going to teach you a very simple, persuasion formula that will help you think through in advance any situation where you need to be really persuasive. So you're on the top performance. So you go into that meeting or that conversation fully prepared, knowing exactly what you want to get out of it and how to do it. Wow, that's powerful. Rather than, just going in and hoping for the best. I can go either way, can't it? So that's Napoleon Hill. So famous quotes about persuasion. According to Aesop, he said, persuasion is often more effectual than force. And Aristotle said, persuasion is clearly a sort of demonstration, since we are most fully persuaded when we consider a thing to have been demonstrated. And Blaise Pascal said, people are generally better persuaded by the reasons which they have themselves discovered, rather than by those which have come into the mind of others. Okay? So, if you feel you've discovered something yourself, you're much more persuaded than what other people foist on you. And Nelson Mandela said, it is wise to persuade people to do things and make them think it was their own idea. Oh, absolutely. I think also Gandhi said that. So, a powerful example of persuasion. Speak of the devil, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi had massive ability to persuade others. Highly persuasive, highly influential. And he proved that one man has the power to take on an entire nation an entire empire actually, using both ethics and intelligence. And the fact is, how did he do this? Well, he visited countless poor communities and listened to their struggles. He also made people feel valued and appreciated. He helped improve communities and build schools and hospitals, and he was arrested and jailed for unrest. But he talked his way out of jail. Wow! Amazingly persuasive. And he was actually named Bapu, which means father. Now that says it all. It's how he behaved as a human being. You know, when you are visited by someone, you know, if you're really struggling and you're visited by someone who listens to your struggles, who shows that you're greatly valued and appreciated, and, you know, that person also does great things in your society, wow! They're going to be really influential. You're going to really look up to them, really admire them, and really listen to what they have to say. So this says it all. And Gandhi was also arrested and imprisoned several more times. You know, did he talk his way out of jail each time? I don't know. Probably. You know, I've watched the movie Gandhi and I've read about his life, but I've forgotten all the details. But I know he's massively persuasive, and you know, he was hugely influential without forcing anyone to do anything. Without forcing anyone to do anything. You know, there's two ways of having huge influence. You can force people through fear and manipulation, all sorts of ways. Or you can do it through ethics and appeals to, what would you say, people's logic and reason and higher values. Different ways you can do this. So my own experiences of persuasion, just 1 second. Need some water. Stop the coughing and spluttering, hopefully, to your very good health. So, when I was young, well, I certainly wasn't very persuasive. I was not influential, and as a result, I experienced very significant lack. Very significant lack. Very unsuccessful. But after becoming more persuasive, my first business took off. This is back in the... I started my first real company. Actually, I started my first business when I was 15. 10 years later, I started my first real business after I left college. And I was selling and renting tropical plants to offices and banks and hotels and shopping centres and all that sort of thing. First few years were a real struggle. Feast or famine. I've talked about that many times before, what I learned from that. But one of the reasons why I was so uninfluential and my business was just struggling, because I was not in any way influential. And so how did I become more influential? How did it affect the way my business went? Well, firstly, and this applies to everyone, this applies to you, becoming much clearer on what you want is the first step. It's, you know, clarity of goal, really knowing clearly exactly what you want, and also developing more confidence. Those are really two really important things. They were for me, but not just me. Everyone's the same. Everyone's the same. So I started learning to listen to other people and communicate my ideas with excitement. If you're sort of trying to persuade someone to do something and you're not very excited and you're all monotone and, you know, you're not at all exciting, people want to walk away. So you need, you know, I learned to listen and communicate my ideas with excitement, believing in myself. And, you know, my excitement is infectious, okay? In a positive way, not like COVID-19. So, and also I gave a voice to all our staff, enabling them to feel heard. You know, in the early days of that business, I was always jumping in to try and help if there were problems. You know, if any of my staff had problems, I was always too anxious to help out. But that used a lot of my time, and I discovered I was actually holding my staff back because they weren't becoming as resourceful as they could become. By being slightly less available, but always available for the big stuff, the big problems, but less available and helping people to, you know, encouraging people to figure out things themselves. Wow, the effect of that is enormous. Everyone needs to feel valued. Everyone needs to feel potent. Everyone needs to feel as though they're making a difference. But if you're doing everything for them, they can never get to feel that. So by me pulling back and enabling them to find their own resourcefulness, they grew. Every one of my team grew in ability, and it's wonderful to watch, you know. So, and also allowing my staff and clients to really feel valued and appreciated. That is a really powerful way of being more influential. If you don't give a damn about anyone and you don't appreciate anyone, do you think that's going to mean you're going to be very influential? I don't think so. Or if it is, in a very bad way. So, and also, yeah, enabling my employees to feel they were part of something important. To feel that they were part of something really important. And we'll discover shortly the importance of that. Painting a big picture, a long-term picture, and showing that what you're doing now and what you're moving towards is actually really important. And you know, these are my own experiences of something that you'll find is common to all ways of becoming more influential, more persuasive. They're not just my own experiences, this is universal, okay? And also enabling each employee to discover their own resourcefulness. I've already covered that, by not immediately jumping in to fix every problem for them. Very important that people start to feel that they are capable, because then their lives take off. Their lives take off. So, yeah, getting others to buy into my vision. That's when I was able to communicate my vision in a way that was, as I say, with excitement. Other people want to buy into your vision a lot more easily. Once you become more effective, a better communicator, once you put yourself in other people's shoes, and once you start really listening and explaining what you're aiming towards with excitement, it's very powerfully influential, as we'll discover. Okay, so that was me. How to win friends and influence people. Just going to go through a summary of this book, because it's one of the best sellers of all time. You might think, just by looking at the title, oh, that's terrible. You know, someone once said to me, oh, that awful book, that awful book. They'd never read it. It's absolutely an amazing book. It's all about how to become deeply respectful, deeply, sincerely caring of others. And when you become that sort of person, you become very influential, and people will want to help you. You can't fake any of this. So this is a wonderful book, because it shows all sorts of people throughout history and how they become really influential, going from not very nice to extraordinarily good human beings. So it's about becoming really, really genuinely authentic in terms of listening to others and really genuinely wanting to understand other people. You can't fake this. But when you know the areas you need to grow in, what a gift, what a gift. This is a wonderful book. Anyways, a quick summary. How to be more persuasive and win people to your way of thinking, whatever that may be. Firstly, avoid all arguments. If you argue with people, you're not going to be very persuasive. They want to walk away. Respect the other person's opinion. Never say you're wrong. No, you're wrong, I think. Ooh, that's really offensive, isn't it? I'm sure we've all said it many times at various points of our life, but it's a no-no when it comes to being influential. And if you are wrong yourself, admit it quickly and emphatically. Shows a lot of humility when you're genuinely showing you're wrong and you regret it and I'm sorry. That shows not just humility, but a real strength of character. I don't know what the word is. Anyway, so begin in a friendly way, obviously. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately, because then when you ask them something, and where their tendency may be to say no, they'll at least think, maybe, you know? So it's just a psychological way that we are wired when we say yes, and then you Saying yes again, it's very hard to immediately say no. So if you can get the other person saying yes, yes, and just sharing things with them that they will agree on, it's much easier to open up a new avenue of possibility that they wouldn't have considered before. So let the other person do a great deal of the talking. People really like to talk about themselves. Even if their lives are not particularly exciting, it's just most people need to be heard. Most people need to be heard. If they're not heard, they become more isolated and think nobody cares. So allowing someone to do a lot of the talking, it just shows that you're valuing them so much. People need that. And let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. That's what Gandhi said. If you're trying to persuade someone to do something, try to get them to, feel that the idea was his or hers. But how do you do that? By planting little seeds in your conversation so they come to the same conclusion without you having to say it outwardly, It takes a bit of skill, it takes a bit of preparation, but we'll look into this in a few minutes, maybe about 20 minutes from now. We'll go into the mechanics of it. A way you can prepare for any situation where you need to be highly influential so that you perform at your very best and you're fully awake and alive and full of, energy. It's easy. So try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Once again, you can't fake this. Try honestly to see see things from the other person's perspective. The more you try this, the easier it becomes and more natural, and then becomes sincere. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires, or I would say, even go further, be compassionate. Appeal to the nobler motives and dramatize your ideas, make them exciting. If you're sharing an idea that you really want to, something that you really want to achieve, and you know you're going to achieve it, if you're talking like this and you're very monotone and you're not excited and you're very wooden, that's not very influential, is it? Dramatize your ideas. No, don't go over the top, but make them exciting. Make them exciting. As I say, excitement is infectious. Positive emotion affects the people around us in a very powerful way. Very powerful way. On so many different levels that we're probably not aware of. Okay? And this may sound crazy. Throw down a challenge. You think, what? People don't like challenges. Actually, they do. Most people like to better themselves or prove to themselves that they're capable of something. So throwing down a challenge, it doesn't have to be a huge challenge, but throwing down a challenge can enable the other person to stretch their life and feel good about themselves. It works. So, high performance coaching, right into the mechanics of how to prepare in advance for any situation. You need to be highly persuasive. And I need some water. And once again, to your very good help. So, high performance coaching. First of all, what is high performance? It sounds like peak performance. It sounds burdening. It's the opposite. It's how to get the best out of life as quickly and easily as possible. That's really in a nutshell. But strictly speaking, high performance means excelling and succeeding above and beyond standard norms consistently over the long term. And this is Brendan Burchard, the founder of the High Performance Institute. There's myself. And he did this huge study on hundreds of thousands of the world's highest performers, the most successful people on the planet, to see if there were habits, tools and techniques and strategies that they used to be consistently successful over the long term. And he found, there are. And every month I share what those strategies, tools, techniques and habits are, so you can use them and put them into practice and leap ahead in terms of your own success and fulfillment. These things work for everyone, okay? If you don't know about them, we just go through life. If you know about these can change your life completely. Okay, so high performance habits, what are they? Well, high performance does not mean peak performance. An athlete must get into a peak performance state to run a marathon, but you can't keep running a marathon or you would die. You can't sustain peak performance states. High performance is about becoming more successful and staying more successful consistently over the long term. The long term. That's really important. So, high performers have greater success, fulfillment, aliveness, and joy. Fact. Scientifically been proved. And they know how to win back time. You know, when you know the activities that you spend a lot of time doing that aren't that fulfilling, and you do less of them and a bit more of the meaningful things, wow, you save time and energy, and you have more joy in your life. Okay? And high performers can dramatically, if they wish, increase their productivity. It's not about working harder. No. High performance is not about working harder. It's about working smarter. And my terminology, minimum effort, maximum result. What's the maximum result I can get from the minimum amount of effort? That's working smart. That's the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. But what if you knew how to use that 20% in all sorts of different areas of life, you know, and maximize it? Wow, the effects are dramatic. So, high performers generally take energization breaks every 60 to 90 minutes because our bodies and our minds need breaks. If you stay at your computer all day or do whatever work you do without any breaks at all, you gradually just get tireder and tireder, and your mind starts to work less effectively. You become foggy brained. You'll have less energy. Your focus will be shattered at the end of the day. But if you can replenish your energy and bring back focus and aliveness as you go through the day, think of how the day changes. Just one day. Do that every day. Wow. It just means your work can be more fulfilling, or whatever it is that you do. Life gets to become more fulfilling, and you have more energy, enthusiasm, aliveness, and joy. Those are the hallmarks of high performers. And high performers also pay attention to their health and they reduce stress and burnout as a result, because when you're looking after your body and you give your body what it needs, it feeds your mind. You've got more mind power. You know, the body and the mind are inextricably linked. So, you know, I'm not talking about massive changes here, not at all. Small incremental improvements. And when you install these little habits, they're only simple little habits, life can become simply amazing. Most people never hear this stuff. No, most people do not know about high performance strategies, habits, tools and techniques. And most people are very unfulfilled, sadly. That's fact. If you've been following any of my work for any length of time, you probably know that years ago I was very involved in life after death research, predominantly scientifically based. But one of the things I learned is that coming up to the last few weeks, days of people's lives, most people ask themselves the same sort of questions. And most people are not very happy with the answers that they give themselves. Did I make a difference? Did I give love? Did I allow myself to receive love? Do I have regrets? And so many people have so many regrets. When you use these strategies, tools, techniques, there's no possibility you'll have regrets, because you start making the changes that matter most. You know, I'm honestly a firm believer we're all here in this world to become all that we possibly can become the best version of you that you can possibly become. And when you help others in any shape or form, you're fulfilling your mission as a human being. We all come to this world to grow and help others along their path in any way we can. Okay, so improve your health and you reduce stress and burnout. And high performers also have greater focus. They get more done more quickly and with less resistance. Simpler, easier. And this is a fact. They're far more successful than 95% of the population. The American Social Security Administration, I think it is, some years ago, discovered that 95% of people at retirement age are just barely above the poverty line. So many people look towards retirement as the time when they're going to do everything that they've wanted to do, but not had the time or money to be able to do so. And unfortunately, the reality is then when most people get to retirement age, there just isn't the financial resources to do it. And they, it's so sad. Most people, well, a huge number of people settle for second best during their lives. And then when they get to retirement age, they think they'll finally do it, only to discover they still have to settle for second best. That's just awful. That's soul destroying. There is a better way, and I teach it every month. So it's high performance training. Very simple, very effective, scientifically proved to work. I didn't invent it. No, it's common denominators of highly successful people. So, what is high performance? What is the coaching model? We experience these things: clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence by mastering these areas. Productivity, persuasion, psychology, physiology, presence, and purpose. Today, we're in this box, persuasion. Okay? So every month we cover one of these, and during the course of each year, during the course of 1 year, we'll cover each box at least once. Some of them, sometimes we go into one of these boxes at a deeper level, and today we're doing that, persuasion, because it's, last time it was influence, this is Persuasion Mastery, advanced secrets of influence. Okay, so we did cover this a few months ago, but this, I'm giving you even, what would you say, that session was more preparatory for this one. I'm going to give you tools now in the next minute that you will absolutely love, that will enable you to prepare in advance for any situation where you need to be highly influential, so you can be really, really influential. It's a very simple way, very, very simple way that can ensure the success of whatever meeting or situation you need to come out on top of, that you need to go really well. Okay? It could be a job interview, it could be a chat with your boss about promotion, it could be anything. You can apply to anything. So these are questions that you can ask yourself that will help you prepare in advance of such a meeting or situation. And don't worry about writing it all down, because I'm going to share with you a PDF file of all the slides that I'm sharing in this presentation, in this month's live training. And you can just download it and print it out, and then fill in the answers. Take your time, fill in the answers. Very simple. So first of all, think of an area in your personal or professional life where you are trying to persuade someone to change. This is an example of change, okay? Number one, what has been working for you in this process? Number two, what doesn't seem to be working? Number three, do you feel you have strong persuasive skills? If so, what makes you good at it? And where can you apply it more to improve your life? If not, if you don't think you're very persuasive, what causes you to believe you're not good at it? What might you improve? These are simple little questions that will help you gain greater clarity on where you're at right now and what you might do to improve. I'm going to give you the really strong stuff now in a minute that will totally change things for you. Number four, if you could persuade more people to support your dreams, what would you ask for? What would you ask for? People are afraid to ask. But if you don't ask, you can't achieve things. So I'll read that again. Number four, if you could persuade more people to support your dreams, what would you ask for? Okay, so this is the persuasion formula. 3 boxes: acknowledgement, ambition, and effect. What on earth does that mean? Let's find out. Okay, this is a 3-part formula for thinking through any situation in which persuasion will be critical. For example, mediations, negotiations, requests of your family, and more. Anything that where you need to be really highly persuasive. So you go through this process to prepare for such situations. And if you do it, if you test this, You'll thank me for it, because it's really powerful. I've tested it, I've used it many times. It's just amazing. So number one, acknowledgement. The foundation for all persuasion rests in our ability to acknowledge others, to explicitly share our understanding of and appreciation for their results, their realities. We must acknowledge other people's challenges and struggles and their successes before attempting to make a request of them. Okay? So acknowledgement, very important. Number two, ambition. Next, we must also stoke their ambition for a better future. As we do that, we can gain greater persuasion by sharing explicitly how their actions can bring them great intrinsic rewards, in other words, personal meaning, passion and enjoyment, and extrinsic reward, in other words, social recognition or rewards like status, money, power, awards, social popularity or appreciation. So two things we need to trigger. First we need to acknowledge their successes and their struggles and all that, and then we need to stoke their ambition for a better future. And we talk about the intrinsic and extrinsic rewards that they will benefit from. Okay, and then third, effect. We must overlay to all this communication a high dose of affect or emotion. We have to share stories or utilize our time in order to make people feel like wanting to do something on an emotional level. Emotions are incredibly powerful. You probably heard me say this a million times, your dominant thoughts and emotions create the circumstances of your life. They do. They do. But when you communicate in a certain way, acknowledging the other person for their struggles and their successes, people need to be patted on the back, and you stoke their ambitions for a better future using all these psychological triggers, and on top of that you communicate in an excited way. Wow, that's powerful. That is really, really powerful. So this is the framework, but let's get down to the actual questions that will enable you to prepare for this communication, where you need to be really influential, using these psychological components, okay, of persuasion. So, high performance coaching, the persuasion formula, sentence completion. This is, you prepare for such a situation by completing these sentences. Okay, sentence completion. Use the following sentences to think about this framework. Apply it to yourself or to someone you are trying to influence. An area of life I need to persuade people better is, fill in the blank. Now think of someone specific you want to persuade. In my next situation of persuasion, the things I'd have to say to acknowledge them would be like, let's go back to the previous page. So you see, acknowledgement, we're going to cover acknowledgement, ambition and effect, okay? So go back to here. Okay, so now think of someone specific who you want to persuade. In my next situation of persuasion, the things I'd have to say to them to acknowledge them would be things like, fill in the blank, what's most meaningful for them, based on how you know them. In my next situation of persuasion, the things I'd have to say them to stoke their ambition, that's the second box, would be things like. And in my next situation of persuasion, the things I'd have to say to them to gain more effect or emotion from them would be things like. So we're covering those three boxes. Very powerful. And this is thinking through in advance. By thinking through it in advance, you'll be able to come up with some ways to do it, to be, to get them by acknowledging them, by stoking their ambition, by having more positive emotion, by preparing all this in advance. Just when you go into that meeting or whatever the situation is, wow, you're so much more influential because you have thought in advance how you're going to use these psychological triggers that every human being has. Take advantage of this. It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's all about win-win, as we'll see. It's not about you gaining and them losing. No, it doesn't work that way. So, persuasion planning number one. Persuading is influencing others to believe or commit to something. Okay? What do you want others to believe or commit to? You must think through persuasion attempts in advance. Otherwise, your results may be disappointing. So, the following questions will help you to plan your next persuasion situation, whether it's a customer, spouse, friend, or colleague. Okay? Number 1, the belief or action I am trying to influence with this person is fill in the blank. Number 2, the reason I want to influence them to believe or commit to this is fill in the blank. Number 3, the ways I can bring up this suggestion to them and frame it positively so they see its benefits. I'll say that again. Number 3, the ways I can bring up this suggestion to them and frame it positively so they see it benefits us both are fill in the blank. Number 4, the future benefits this person will personally experience for adopting my suggestion are fill in the blank. It's amazing preparation here. Number 5, the intrinsic and extrinsic rewards that would motivate this person to do what I suggest are fill in the blank. Number 6, the daily tangible impacts they would feel or sense if they were to do what I'm suggesting would be fill in the blank. So, you have to think about their daily life and, what would really change for the better. Paint the picture as vividly as you can in as an exciting way as you can. And number 7, the benefits that would happen for others if this person were to do what I suggest are, and does them believing or doing what you suggest benefit other people? If so, how? Fill in the blank. It's powerful. This is really powerful. And most people don't know this. Number 8, the consequences this person would experience for not doing what I suggest are fill in the blank. There's always consequences for not doing something. So be detailed here. Paint a picture of their daily reality and ultimate outcome that would not be good for them. You have to help people think. I'm often shocked at the level of thinking we have in society today. Most people don't really think. They react. They hear stuff, they react to it. They see stuff, they react to it. And certainly my parents' generation, I would hear this thing that would shock me all the time. My parents' generation, they would be maybe at a party or dinner party, and someone would say, well, what do you think about such and such? And often the other person would respond, well, so-and-so says that blah, blah, blah. No, what do you think? No, what do you think? Oh, well, this other person thinks that. That's awful. But our generation is very much the same with so much distraction, social media. People still react. They react. They don't really think. So you have to help people think through things, and that's another way you can become highly influential. So I'll read this again. The consequences this person would experience for not doing what I suggest are, and again, be detailed here, paint a picture of their daily reality and ultimate outcome that would not be good for them. Help them think, okay, by painting that picture. Number 9, the deadline I can make real and share this with this person is, when is that deadline? And the reason they will want to hit that deadline is, come up with reasons. Very powerful. So I mean, this may seem really simplistic, and it is, but it's using psychological triggers that all human beings have. And when you know what those psychological triggers are, and you use them, providing you're using them in a way where it's win-win, it's not about manipulation or, persuading someone to do something against their will and where they lose and you benefit. That's awful. If you do that, you pay a big price, I promise you. Life gives you a slap in the face later down the road. You may not even relate it to the event, but if you go around manipulating people, and it's just not worth it. It's not the smart way to live life. But when you know the psychological triggers human beings possess and you use them in a way where it's win-win, you will become extraordinarily influential, extraordinarily persuasive, and you will be able to achieve things that other people cannot achieve. And as I say, all this has been scientifically proved. I haven't invented it. It's not my original work. I wish I could say, hey, this is what I discovered in my secret laboratory. But I don't have a secret laboratory, and I'm not a Batman or anything like that. But there are people who have done that research, and we know what works now. We know what works and what doesn't work. This is the amazing thing about the time in history we are now living in. We have learnt more about the human brain and psychology in the last 10, 15 years than we have in the whole history of the human race. So we now know so many things that work and don't work. It's an amazing time to be alive, even though there's all sorts of challenges. It's an amazing time to be at the birth of, I believe, an extraordinary golden age. I really believe that. I really believe that. You know, you might think, what? All the things going on in the world. You know, there's a wonderful symbol that's used in the Far East as an analogy for growth and transformation. It's the lotus flower. The lotus flower is it's a beautiful flower, and it lives in a very muddy swamp. And the muddier the swamp, the more beautiful the flower. You know, so even though there's all sorts of terrible things going on in the world and so much challenge, it's also an extraordinary opportunity for humanity to waken up and start doing the things that are really important. Start living in a way that benefits everyone. And, you know, I'm in my late 50s now. I've come through all sorts of times in my life. I'm a constant experimenter. I'm always experimenting with everything. And it's just, I'm very scientifically minded, and I've got such positive beliefs, or more than beliefs, just, I know there's really good stuff ahead. Yes, there's bumps in the road to get there, definitely, but I've huge hope for humanity, huge hope for humanity. I actually remember Brendan Burchard, who you saw his photo just a few minutes ago. I was at one of his seminars a few years back, and he was also saying what I'm saying now, great hope for humanity. I had this great hope before I met him, but you know, our thoughts mirror each other in many ways. And he said, you know, I've got great hope for humanity. He said, look, there's 1,000 of us here in this seminar, and there hasn't been one murder yet. Try and get any other species of animal together in such numbers, and dogs and cats, and they'd all be killing each other. You know, a group of dogs together, a group of cats, it'd be horrendous. But human beings, and this is definitely my own understanding I've come to, most people, you dig down enough, you'll find that they're of really good intent. They really hope, they really try to do their best. And you see this in millions of cases of spontaneous acts of kindness and thoughtfulness. So even though there may be awful challenges in the world, I think humanity's growing up. I think, we've gone through our teenage years, and there's more maturity ahead in the world. It's gone from like a stroppy teenager to good stuff ahead. And I believe I'll see the beginnings of it in my own life. I'm pretty sure our children will, my kids. Wonderful time to be at the birth of something wonderful. And you might think, oh, you're just an optimist, you're airy-fairy. No, I'm skeptical about things. I dig deep. I dig very deep, and I'm not one to accept things very easily. I want to see, touch, weigh and measure stuff before I take it on as a strong probability or possibility. Anyway, hope that you found this encouraging and positive and hopeful. But anyway, so what did we cover today? Because we're going to go to questions and answers in a second. I'm going to go back in front of my computer, in front of my webcam, and you can ask me anything that we covered in today's session, or anything that you want to ask me. I'm here for you. And if you're watching the replay, it doesn't matter. You can still ask me a question. Send me an email, go to my website, or use the chat box. You'll see a chat box if you're on Facebook or YouTube or whatever channel you're watching this or network you're watching this on. There probably is going to be a chat box there, and you'll be able to ask questions. If it's not live, if this is the recording, you won't get an instant reply, but like you will when I'm back in front of my computer in a moment. But I will answer it. Okay, so please ask me anything. So what did we cover today? Firstly, how to be a better communicator, how to get people to understand your point of view, how to gain more respect from others, how to be more persuasive in every interaction, how to use persuasion to get ahead faster, how to persuade other people to do what you want. And just recommended resources. I mentioned before Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Also, we looked at a summary of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits, and my own bestseller, The Most Powerful Goal Achievement System in the World. So it's over to you, questions and answers. I'm going to go in front of my computer. This camera and microphone will blank out just for a moment. Don't go away, because the other camera and mic on my computer, my desktop, will spring to life. So it'll be just a couple of seconds of blank screen. Don't go away. Get those questions ready.
Okay, just make sure that the stream is still working. I have my laptop here beside me. Okay. Oh yes, it's working! Hooray! I don't believe it. If you were joining me from the very beginning, well, basically, my computer really blew up today. I rebooted because last month the broadcast stopped 3/4 way through. I had too many things open on my computer, so today I rebooted. And when I rebooted, well, that's when everything's stopped, basically. My computer wouldn't reboot. So it was, it was a nasty situation. I'm going to have to get a new computer. But, when I went through the diagnostics, it said hard drive failure. So it hasn't completely failed. So anyway, oh gosh, and I'm totally reliant on a computer, and I'm doing the biggest deal of my entire life right now. A computer going on the blink for me is my ultimate fear. Anyway, let's look at the chat. 1 second. I'm going to look at the chat because I've you can ask me anything here. Very happy to answer. So let me just see. Actually, let me do a few things before I answer questions. Put up the graphic there. And then there's a chat box. Sorry, the chat. What do I want to put up on screen? Here we go. Want to ask a question? Simply use the chat box. Okay, right. Let's get rocking. Okay. First question is from Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Oh, before I answer questions, really important, I need to paste this into the chat box, the download of the slides. Okay, so did that work? Yes, it did. So if you look over to the right hand side of the screen, if you're on YouTube, that's what I'm monitoring here. I think it's Facebook, it's the same. Anyway, somewhere on the screen you're going to see a link that says download the presentation slides here. Click on that link and you can download all the slides from today's session. So that's that. First question here is from Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Jackie says, I have some big goals, so I see how I need to be more persuasive. Unfortunately, I don't always stand up for myself, and I have difficulty expressing what I need to others. Will the persuasion formula work for everyone? For example, will it help me to be more persuasive, even though that's not me up until now? Absolutely. I think it's very powerful because it forces you to prepare in advance. You know, as I said earlier, that expression, that phrase, failing to plan is planning to fail. So when you plan for anything, it goes much better. But when you plan in advance and use these psychological triggers, oh wow, you will be much more persuasive. So just setting aside, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, if it's a really important session, I would set aside a couple of hours just to go through this persuasion formula, because it'll help you brainstorm what you need, the things you need to ask and say. It's dynamite. I've used it at several different junctures over the past few years, and it's been incredibly effective. So even if you haven't been persuasive up until now, I think I'm a great believer that we can figure anything out. We can learn any new skill, and when you use this persuasion formula several times, it'll become very natural to you. You'll find that you'll be able to do it a lot more quickly, more easily. It'll make more sense, and anyone can learn anything. Anyone can learn anything. I know I'm quoting Brendan Burchard a lot, but he's one of my, well, I have many mentors, but he's one mentor who I know personally, I've got to know personally. He's an amazing human being. And as he says, trust in your ability to figure things out. And today, we have more ability to figure things out than any other time in history. Amazing ways of learning any new skill, like udemy.com, amazing resource. You can learn anything. Want to start a new career? Learn the skills that you need on udemy.com or other online learning platforms. I have a couple of courses, 2 or 3 courses actually on udemy.com. Actually, I get an email every so often and just see that I have something like just over 12,000 students now on Udemy. So that's great. Most of them are 5-star reviews, not all of them. But yeah, we can learn anything. We can figure out anything. And the persuasion form, you don't need to figure out anything. Just use it. Just test it. So I hope that helps, Jackie. Question from Sue. In one of your videos, you said that we need to convert our goals into affirmations. Where can I find a guide that can help me with this? Well, if you're a member of the Secrets of Success mentoring program, if you go into the resources area, you'll be able to download my bestseller, The Most Powerful Goal Achievement System in the World. And at the back of that book, there are 356 affirmations that you can use, or you can use them as templates for creating your own. If you're not a member of the Secrets of Success, just go to Amazon. The Kindle version of The Most Powerful Goal Achievement System in the World only costs $1. I keep it really cheap. No intentions of making money from it. I just want to get it into as many people's hands who need it as possible. So I'm literally giving it away. You can't give away a book for free on Amazon, unfortunately. $1 is all it costs, and download it, put it out in your Kindle, download it to your Kindle device, and they're all there. They're all there. All those sample affirmations. So I hope that helps. Message or a question from John. Hello, John. John says, limiting beliefs seem to have affected me a lot over the years. Everyone's in the same boat. And you showed us recently how to uncover and overcome them. It seems so simple, yet it's hard to believe that it's really effective. Does it really work, or do I have to do it again and again for the results to be worthwhile? Great question, John. Just 1 second, need some water. I think honestly, finding your look, most people have all these limiting beliefs and they never become aware of them, and therefore they fall the victim to their limiting beliefs for the rest of their lives. So unless you root out and overcome your limiting beliefs in any area of your life where you're being held back, more than likely you'll be held back in that area for many more years. It's just awful. I mean, one of the biggest reasons why people don't achieve what they want in life is because of limiting beliefs. So uncovering your limiting beliefs in any area of your life that's not going the way you want, So important. It's so important. And it's not difficult. And no, it doesn't, John. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do it again and again and again and again. Basically, that technique you're referring to, how to root out and overcome limiting beliefs. The first part of that exercise can do quite quickly. In fact, you need to do it quickly because you're asking questions of yourself, and the first thing that comes to mind, you write down. The very first thing. You're not looking for the logical reasons. An example is a lot of people have hang-ups around wealth. They think they can never be wealthy. They can never be successful. They can never whatever. So, as an example, you may have great struggles in finances and have for years. So you just get a piece of paper and you write out, I can't, and you say it out loud, I can't become rich because, and the first thing that comes to mind, write it down. The first thing. Doesn't matter how crazy or irrational it seems, write it down. And then you ask yourself again, I can't become rich because, and the very first thing that comes to mind, write it down. You do this 10 times. And if you do this slowly and you use your rational thinking, conscious mind, it's not going to work. You have to do it really fast, and the very first response that comes, you write it down. So, as I say, you do this 10 times, and I mean, it's amazing the subconscious beliefs that people hold, the conditioning that people hold around money. I've heard so many people do this exercise, and they said, I can't become rich because money doesn't grow on trees. It's things that they've heard as they're growing up, or hard experiences that they've had that form these beliefs. I can't become rich because rich people are greedy. Oh, I can't become rich because money doesn't grow on trees. Implying that there's not enough to go around. All these crazy beliefs that most people have around wealth, around money. Money is really important. It is really important. I think, what? That sounds very materialistic. By the way, I'm not materialistic. If you look at my life, I don't buy anything for myself. I love buying things for other people, but just fortunately, I went through my materialistic phase in the early 1990s, and it's a bit overrated. To be honest, the reason why so many people go through all this stuff, through poverty, is because they have these attitudes about money. And money, if you think money is not important, you're saying that you're not important, because you know what money is? It's an exchange of the time and effort you have made. So if you waste money, you're wasting all the time and energy that you have worked. It's that simple. If you value yourself, people who have a lot of self-esteem, self-worth, and self-value, generally, if you look at the studies, they have a lot more abundance in their life. But if they tell themselves, "Oh I'm not worth anything," no, the universe reflects that. They don't have much abundance. So the fact is, this can all be changed. Becoming aware of one's limiting beliefs is very quick, very easy. And then you create affirmations that are the complete opposite. And you do that part of the exercise slowly, and you use your conscious, rational thinking mind. You look for opposites. I can't become rich because money doesn't grow on trees. The opposite would be, I can become rich because I live in a world of abundance, something like that. I can't become rich because rich people are greedy. The opposite belief that you could create is, I can become rich because rich people are generous, and so am I. Those are just simplistic examples. We don't have the time to go through the whole exercise here again, because on YouTube or on my website or on Facebook, you can find a whole training on this. Really powerful stuff. And yes, it can completely change your life. When you discover your limiting beliefs in any area of life where you've been held back for a long time, and then you do this simple exercise to counteract those limiting beliefs, and you convert them into affirmations, and you read those affirmations to yourself morning and evening aloud with emotion, it reprograms your subconscious mind. It's giving your subconscious mind new instructions, and it's like magic. it can be like magic. Things start to change. And you think, what? That was simple. Yes, but often the most effective things in life are the simplest. Okay. So I hope that helps you, John. So another question here. This is a question from Frank, and Frank says, I've been overweight for years now, and I know this is holding me back from achieving my bigger goals. What would you suggest I do to increase my energy without putting my body into shock? Well, firstly, you must consult a doctor before starting any new exercise routine or any new diet. I'm definitely not a doctor, so anything I say, don't listen to. No, I'm not a doctor, so I cannot give you advice on this, but I would suggest that whatever you do after consulting your medical practitioner, do it slowly. Big changes can happen if you just with small incremental improvements. Small changes, baby steps add up. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step and then another and another. You don't have to run a marathon here. Just small adjustments over time make huge difference. I lost quite a bit of weight. I was a bit overweight, and I just made some very small adjustments, and I did it over 2 years. I wasn't grossly overweight by any means, but I started drinking this thing called bulletproof coffee. It includes, you add butter, you blend it with your coffee, and it's delicious. It's like drinking this really creamy cup of coffee. And you think, butter in your coffee, that puts on weight. But actually, it creates a chemical reaction that puts the body into ketosis, which means it dissolves, melts away fat deposits in the body. So that's one of the ways I slowly, over time, lost weight. Also started taking a little bit of exercise, a little bit more than I was, just a little bit. I do not like high intensity training or anything like that. I really, really don't. But just going for a 20-minute walk, sometimes only 10 minutes with the dog at the end of the day, makes a huge difference. And then just doing some gentle exercise, maybe twice during the day, just 2-minute exercises, maybe 3 times. And I drink a smoothie every morning for breakfast along with the bulletproof coffee. Just small adjustments that add up to huge changes. So whatever new routine you're considering taking up, please consult a medical practitioner first. And I'm sure this time next year you will see some very big results. Very big results. Small changes over time can turn into huge things. So I hope that helps, Frank. That seems to be all the questions, unless there's one more question. Gone. No? I think that's it for now. So until we see each other next month, until we're together next month, stay safe. And thanks for joining me. And I'm going to post the replay. Well, actually, I don't need to post a replay, do I? I did last month when everything broke down and I had to patch up some footage from my video camera, which was recording, and splice it to the webcam footage on my computer because the broadcast broke down halfway. But anyway, this is available. You can download click on the link on the page you're watching it to download the slides. And have a great look after yourself, and thank you.